This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Damian Lillard is back in Rip City, not just to hang out with his family at his home, but to become a part of the Portland Trailblazers once again. That and that only today on the Blazer Focus podcast with my man Craig Birnbach. I'm Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and Oregon Live. And oh my God, Craig, you know,
Rip City!
I'm sitting there minding my own business once again, doing some work, and all of a sudden, ding, 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 chaos breaks out. Damian Lillard coming back to Portland on a 3-year deal worth $42 million, $14 million a year for a guy who's going to make $25 million a year from Milwaukee over the next 4 seasons. 5.
Well, is that how?
2, 3.
I think he gets his money up front. I think he gets 50.
No. And then they stretch it out on the cap.
Yeah, I think he's guaranteed that money because his deal is that. I don't know how that works. Either way, for these 2 years, he's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid
$140 plus million.
Right. So, fascinating story. This was clearly a possibility when he got waived by the Bucks. And I think a lot of people kind of felt like when his career was near the end, he might come back to Portland anyway. And that's been sped up because of the Achilles. But let me start here. So this is, and I confirmed this with someone, almost 100% about Damian Lillard and his family, his 3 kids especially. He's got 3 young children, twins, who I think are 4 or 5 now, and then Dame Jr., who's 7 or 8, somewhere in there.
He's right between 7 and 8 because he has. It's the same age as my son. My son just turned 8, and I remember Dame and I talking about dinosaurs together. They were about the same age.
There you go. So in October of 23, Dame filed for divorce. So that meant that his then ex-wife and children weren't going to move to Milwaukee with him. Now, clearly, when you make $50 million a year, visitation's easier than for most people when you're living halfway across the country because you can get jets and bring your kids in and you can fly home for the weekend, whatever. You can work it out. And plus, he spends his off seasons here. But as I was told when this process was just starting, I was told, like what was widely reported, that Damian was receiving a lot of interest from a lot of good teams. My personal thing is because I like to see stars late in their career get a chance to win, right? Just get a chance. And I just assumed that he would seek that chance, like cherry pick. Just wait. Oh, you need a point guard? I'll come to you and try and win a championship. Then come to Portland for the last couple of years or what have you. That's what I thought would happen. But I was told just even a week ago, don't count out Portland. Like, you cannot put a price on family. You cannot put a price on missing your children. And Dame is a serious family man who loves his kids, right? Also, he was not happy in Milwaukee. He didn't want to go there in the first place. He wanted to go to Miami. He relented and went to Milwaukee because his agent talked him into it, right? It gave him a chance to win. He wasn't necessarily happy. There wasn't anything against Milwaukee or the Bucks or anything like that. But he didn't necessarily want to be there. He did want to win, but the fit never really worked out. He got there late in his first year. Then Doc comes in, changes things around. Plus, Giannis got hurt last year before the playoffs, missed the series against the Pacers. They lost. And then this year, he had the blood clot, and then he had the Achilles. Right? So the combination of not being happy, the combination of you went somewhere to try and win and everything went poorly, right? And you wanted to remain in Rip City for a lot of different reasons. And then the fact that he did have the Achilles injury, which means he may not be the same moving forward. So maybe chasing a championship isn't the way to go. Plus, at the end of the day, he loves his children. Therefore, that opened the door for him to come back to Portland. So basketball aside, you can't blame the guy for pursuing that because he's going to be back in his own home, be able to see his children more often, and return to the place where he played for 11 seasons.
Right. And it's not, his brother lives here and he's a god. You know what I mean? Like he knows Portland. This is his place. I'm with you on the fact that this is what he wants and it's not what he wanted 2 years ago. that's changed. When he left because he wanted to win a championship. Right. Now he's coming back because he wants to be home. And home is with his family and in the city of Portland. Here's the thing. I texted you in the Drew Holiday trade before we did our, emergency pod that night. Well, I guess that means Dame's not coming back because you don't go get 2 35-year-old point guards. I was wrong about that. Clearly that the Blazers are okay with that, and that's something different. But look, this is a Portland story in the sense that this is the kind of the fan base. They are so happy to see Dame back. And it will also change their mindset. 2 years ago, when Dame left, people were crushed, but they're like, okay, they're promising us that they're going to start from scratch, and this is the best way to get to a championship. I think smart NBA fans realize this wasn't part of the original plan. Like, this wasn't going all in with all the chips to get Dame Lillard back a year. I mean, at 36, basically, after a torn Achilles. But they're cool with that because they get their guy. And sports is about enjoying it for whatever. It's free joy. I always say that. It's free joy. You don't do anything. And if your team does something to make you feel good, great. So if fans are happy about this, it is better to have Damian Lillard a member of your franchise if you're not going to make the playoffs either way, or you're not going to win a championship either way. I'd rather do it with Dame Lillard. And, to me, it's like they should hire I don't know what it's called, the artist to make the statue now. Like, it's done. Now it's done. It was pretty much done, but now it's done. Like, put it up. Number one, get the statue. Number two, just put it up in the rafters now. Just retire 0 now. Like, it's over. But it's exciting, but it's weird. It's weird. Like, there's no way you can't say it's weird.
Okay, so now we said all the right things from the standpoint of Dame and his family and his kids. And him return the ripsit and the fans being excited, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all great. Okay. And look, neither one of us thought they were building toward winning a title anytime soon. Some fans seemed to think that they were building something special, but you and I were like, come on, man. Like, the West is too stacked. You need a star. You don't have one. Maybe Shaden, maybe Denny, who knows, whatever. So yeah, like you said, if you're not going to contend for a title, you might as well have Damian on our team. That said, how does this work and what does this mean?
It does not work.
Like from a basketball standpoint, from a franchise standpoint, it just doesn't. Okay, unless you're just saying, look, he's going to play for $14 million, so he's not going to eat a bunch of cap space. If he's still really good, he starts. If he's not, maybe he's willing to come off the bench, and play 28 minutes and just be a sharp shooter. I mean, that's fine too, right? But as I tweeted, you alienated Dame by drafting Scoot. Then you traded Ant, 26 for a 34-year-old Holiday. And then you went back and brought back Dame at 35 to be 36 when he comes back, which may alienate Scoot. Now, what people are saying is, well, we don't know if Scoot's going to be any good. Oh, now you don't know. Now you don't know if Scoot's going to be any good, right? So now that's the caveat that way. When that, to me, it was that way when they first drafted him in the first place. But now, well, if Scoot isn't any good and you're falling back on Dame because of that, you're done. Now, Sean's made this comment where, and other people have done this too, where, you traded Dame for Holiday and you ended up with Holiday, right? And you drafted Scoot and you ended up getting Dame back in the end, but you got Kamara. Wow. And you got Denny. Oh my God, what a coup. Well, the problem with that is, one, you could have traded for Denny at any point. Two, you could have drafted Kamara. And three, the Dame you gave up and the Holiday you got then gave up is not what you're getting back. You're not getting back those two guys. You're getting back the 35, the soon-to-be 36-year-old version of those two guys. You got to factor this in too, Craig. You went 21-61 and 36-46. Okay? That's two horrible seasons while Dame was still in his prime. And you wasted the year before that with that ridiculous trying to balance the roster thing with all these young guys that didn't have enough size or veterans to compensate for injuries when Dame had the greatest season statistically of his career. You lit that on fire. So you lit 3 Damian Lillard seasons on fire, and now you get him back and, he's got to sit out again. That's 4, and then you get him back at 36. And what are you going to do with Holiday? You got to move Holiday. Well, if you don't move Holiday now, are you going to get more from it when he's 36? No. If you move him now, then you're screwed because you only have Scoot at point guard. So the entire thing from a basketball standpoint makes 0 sense. One last thing I'll say, they do have some nice height. They have some nice size. They have some defense around Dame, something they only had one other time. That was in 19 when they went to the West Finals. But again, what Dame are you getting? That Dame in 19 was an MVP caliber Dame. Dame at 36 coming off an Achilles, I don't know. So what are you going to be doing exactly in terms of trying to build a winner in the Western Conference? You explain it to me, Craig.
So first of all, you went a long way to kind of combat this was such a great trade because Dame is back thing. Look, that to me, you don't have to do that. All I have to say is you drafted Scoot number 3 to be your star. What was the word?
Transcendent and generational.
That is what you did. So if you want to do that, then I just stop and say, you traded Dame because you thought that you were going to draft Scoot and he was going to be transcendent and generational. And the only reason why you have Drew Holiday and Dame back is because that's not true. So to me, all this other stuff, like that's just I mean, you want to talk about spin. Look, if Scoot Henderson was what you said he was going to be, you would have never traded for Drew Holiday. You know what I mean? So that's irrelevant. How is this going to work? This is what I will say. You have 1 year to figure it out because Dame's not going to play this year. So you're allowed to have Drew Holiday and Scoot together for 1 year. And as you say, there's plenty of minutes. There's enough minutes for Sharp, Scoot, and Drew. And you got to hope Drew Holiday plays really, really well and you could trade him. And you got to hope that Scoot plays so well that you're trying to trade Drew Holiday. Because if Drew Holiday is not playing well, you're not going to get much. And if Scoot's not pushing him to get off the roster, well, then you just trade Scoot. You know what I mean? Because at year 3, if you don't think Scoot could be a starting point guard next year, you know what I mean? Like then, oh boy, you've really screwed up here. So they do have a year to figure it out. But this was my favorite, and somebody tweeted something. There's nothing wrong with this tweet, but it said, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, Jeremy Grant. What an awesome group of vets for this young team to learn from. And this is what I said in my head. Well, in 2 years, those 3 guys might be in your starting lineup, and you'll be like the oldest team in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like that.
Dude, the learn from the veteran thing is the most over-regurgitated, overrated thing on the planet. But magically,
but they won't be a young team. Those guys have to be starters.
From a star and become great. Come on, it's so overrated. They're not going to learn. Either you're good or you're not. You can learn some things, I know, but come on,
I think Magic would have been okay without Kareem.
Well, they play different positions too. Yeah, but you're right.
No, I'm just saying from the vet thing.
And plus, Kareem didn't teach him anything anyway because they didn't like him.
Because they didn't like him. That's what I'm just saying. Who taught Michael Jordan to be great? I don't.
Fat Lever.
Bill Cartwright?
Not Fat Lever. Who's Michael Colton was or something. Michael Holden was on that team. Michael Holden was an early Bulls.
That's not Michael what Holden. We do here, right?
Steve Coulter, that's the guy. Steve Coulter taught him how to become great. No, it's overrated. And
Craig Hodges,
Chauncey's a Hall of Fame point guard who's your head coach. He can teach Scoot plenty and teach Shaden since he played guard at level.
Anyway, I'm just saying they won't be young. If those 3 guys are on the roster in 2 years, if you have Jeremy Grant and you're paying him what you're paying him, and you have Drew Holiday and you're paying him what you're paying him, and you have Dame Lillard, which admittedly it's only $14 million, but it's still $14 million. You're talking $30+ million, $30+ million, $14 million plus. Those 3 guys are going to be playing significant minutes, if not all 3 starting, if you don't move them. And guess what? that means you're old. That means you have 3 players in your rotation over 30, above 30. So you're not that young anymore. So, but it's going to look, they have a year to fix it,
Holiday
in a way
will be
to
gone.
figure it out.
I
mean, he has to be, right? He has to be.
He'll be gone by the next
The
time.
question is, how is Scoot feeling right now? And how do you make Scoot feel okay? I mean, I don't know how you make Scoot feel okay.
Well, okay, but he's got a whole year without Dame playing.
Right, but you still went and got Drew Holiday.
Yeah, but again, you gotta beat him out. But you're gonna play.
I'm just saying, it's not a day to celebrate the fact that the Blazers went and got 2 35-year-old vets that are hopefully still very, very good.
Right.
And you are in year 3, and you're the 3rd overall pick. Your hope is saying, "Hey, I'm gonna play 35 plus minutes," right?
Okay, but here's the deal. I'll say this about Scoot. Scoot is not in a position. So I've seen fans talk about this. Oh, they cleared the runway for Scoot. Scoot's going to get this, or Scoot needs that. Scoot hasn't done a damn thing to warrant crying about minutes at all. So I'm not worried about Scoot. Earn it. If you play like you did during that 6-week stretch when I was calling you Scoot Curry, you're going to start. And you're not going to leave the court very often because you were shooting 45% from 3. Realistically, you get, say, around 38, 39, and you improve some other areas, you're going to get your minutes. But if you don't play well enough to earn the minutes, then you got nothing to complain about anyway. And then the Blazers have Holiday to go back to, or maybe they start Holiday at the 2, maybe Shaden at the odd man of the starting lineup. But again, 96 minutes, they can average 32. They can average 32 each, or it can fluctuate. And guess what? We all know guys are going to get hurt. Holiday's going to miss 20 games. He missed 20 last year. He's going to miss about 15 or 20. So there's going to be plenty of minutes to go around. That's not going to be an issue. You just got to go out there and prove it and earn it. He's got a year to do that before Dame comes back online. But when Dame comes back online, I see people talking about, Dame's going to come back and back up Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson better be a megastar by then, because Dame Lillard's not coming back to back up anybody. I don't believe that for a second at 36. That would shock me even more than him coming back. If Dame comes back, I'll back up Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson better be at a marquee level to warrant something like that. I don't see it happening. But that's when the trouble's going to start, not this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, they have a year. I'm just saying, though, I get what you're saying. He hasn't earned it. But the fact of the matter is we do know that they have been telling Scoot and Shaden, you're our future, you're our future, you're our future. And this is, maybe this is what they need. Maybe it's a kick in the tuchus. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, we're already got a plan B going here. You're no longer this isn't going to be handed to you in any way. I mean, Chauncey said that to Shaden last year when he benched him. You know what I mean? He said, look, you don't play D. I don't care where you're drafted. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care how high you jump. If you don't play the defense that I want, then boom, you're going to sit. You mentioned the size. Look, this is Damian Lillard had one of the things that really stalled the Blazers to be able to win when he was at his best was their lack of size. And now they're huge. You know what I mean? They're a huge team. They have 2 guys now, young guys, 20, 21 years old, that, they'll be 22 when he comes back, that are 7'1", plus. They have Kamara, who's big. They've got Denny, who's big. I mean, Sharp's a big 2 if he's your starting 2. I mean, Dame played with Wesley Matthews at the 2, who's not a big 2, but a great defender, and they were really good. So Nick Batum, when Dame's teams were at the best, they had wings that could guard, and now they have wings that could guard again. So there's that. But I mean, we're getting so far ahead of ourselves because he's got to get back from an Achilles injury. You know what I mean? Like there's that. It's just crazy. What a crazy day. Like that right now, Damian Lillard is a Blazer again. But I'm gonna enjoy it and say, like, figure it out. And you've mentioned it over and over again. They're selling this team. Joe Cronin might not be the GM in a year. So this year is nuts. And it's gonna be kind of fun, to see and figure out what the heck happens for fans, for media, for the league, for Dame. I mean, it's going to be wild. I mean, Damian Lillard's not going to play this year, right? I mean, I know that we talked about, in my opinion, I don't think he's going to play this year.
Yeah, so. I've been told that the plan is he's not going to play.
which, by the way, was my original plan. And we talked about it. He could have come back late. I will say this, though. I'll declare it. If the Blazers are in the finals, he'll play. I'm calling my shot. But, I mean, so you have this whole year of Damian Lillard trying to come back. But, look, getting to cover Damian Lillard's career in Portland, that dude is not coming back with the mindset of, I'm going to come back as a bench player. Like, that's just not who he is. So he's coming for Scoot's job. He's coming for Drew Holiday's job like now. I mean, like, his whole plan is to be a starter, the starting point guard when he plays in 26, 27. Like that's just the way it is. That's his mentality. And it better be his mentality because it's a hard injury to come back from. So, but getting in shape, not an issue for Damian Lillard. You know what I mean? That is, no one has ever said, that Dame, I don't think he spends too much time on his music. Like, that's never been a thing. They're like, that dude knows how to balance everything. And he is one of the best at that.
Do you remember that one off season he put out an album and made like 8 music videos? I think he make one like in the Sahara or something like that. Maybe it wasn't the Sahara Desert, but these are pretty elaborate videos
with a young child,
right? On location and it was crazy, and they all dropped like boom, boom, boom. I was like, whoa, when did you? I think I even texted him like, dude, when did you have time to do all this crap? But yeah, and then he still came back and balled out, right? So I think he just travels to locations with a basketball court, but
yeah, but he's a pro. He's working out every day. His diet's amazing. You look at Damian Lillard when he came into the league, where he was, he wasn't 19. He played 4 years in college, and what he looked like 2 years later, you're like, oh, that's not the same dude. Like he is not a problem about working out, and to come back from the Achilles, you got to go nuts. I mean, you got to go nuts. You got to strengthen everything, and he will. And then we'll see what happens. It's wild. It's wild. Like my brain keeps exploding. Damian Lillard signed with the Blazers. Drew Holiday's on the team. Scoot Henderson's still here. Shaedon Sharpe is here. Like, Jeremy Grant's still on the team. Like, what the heck is this?
They gave away Ayton for nothing.
It's wild.
They traded Simons.
And they got a new owner coming. Right?
So let's talk about this.
What does that mean?
So, okay. How do I say this? So it is not altogether impossible that a potential ownership group in the pipeline, wheeling and dealing, wanted to see Damian Lillard back on the team. Or maybe had some conversations with Lillard and his people and said, hey, you interested in coming back to Portland? Because, there is the fact that Damian Lillard, when he does return, is probably going to sell some tickets.
Oh, he's going to sell some tickets.
Yeah, something that this team has been struggling with. So the first year when they traded Dame, they were saying that the season ticket retention was around 92%. But that was in part because they won the number 3 pick and they sold the idea of using that pick to trade for someone to help Damian, right? That all went down during the renewal process.
Right.
Okay. I had season tickets and I delayed my renewal. I kept ignoring my rep who kept warning me the deadline was coming. The deadline was coming, right? And if you don't meet the deadline, you're going to lose your rewards. I'm like, I ain't losing jack. I've been a season ticket holder for a long time. Anyway, I kept waiting and waiting because I thought Dame was going to leave if they didn't use the pick right. They kept Scoot. Dame requested a trade. When it was apparent that he was gone for good, I dropped my tickets. So my point being is that 92% was bloated because people renewed thinking they were going to trade that pick. And then there was some excitement around Scoot. The next year, they said retention level was around 80-something%. So if you have 100 season ticket holders and the next year you bring back 90, and then the next year you bring back 80% of that, well, that's 72. So that means from the first year, 100, you've gone down to 72. That's a 28% drop.
That's bad.
So if over 2 years, so if you're dropping like that post Dame because Scoot wasn't working out and you sucked, you bring back Dame, those season tickets are going to spike back up, baby, just because he's back.
So my thought on that is 2 things. I don't know about thinking there's an owner lined up, but I will say to Joe Cronin's credit, they've done two things now that I think will help in a big way. One, by drafting Hanson Young, knowing that opens up the Chinese pipeline for tons and tons of sales and commercial sales in China, broadcast rights in China. But now Adam Silver was talking a little bit about expansion, and then he touched on the Portland thing. And of course he said they want to keep Portland, the Blazers in Portland, but he mentioned new arena. You know what's going to help get a new arena in 26, 27? Like
not Damian Lillard. Not Damian Lillard.
It's certainly going to help when that sold out night one.
He won't even be there when the arena's built.
No, but you got to get the funding now. You got to line it up. You got to get the public on board. You're telling me the public's not going to be more supportive of when Damian Lillard is on the team and selling out than they are if they sucked again next year? Oh, come on.
I don't know if that matters. Okay, so
if you think it matters to the owner, it matters to the climate of getting a new arena.
So
when the Blazers are blowing up. Oh, look at you rolling your eyes.
Cause you're just not saying anything important. So let me finish.
See, this is why it's a shame. This is why he asked me to do this. Because most people would be offended.
They'd start crying. They'd be like,
Aaron
Fentress was mean to me. I've had that happen to me in the past, dude. I've said some innocuous things that were clearly a joke, and people would be like, Fentress was mean to me.
The thing is,
freaking babies. That's why I like you, because you're an adult.
You believe. I've just been mocked by better people than you. But you believe. You say it's a joke. It's not a joke. You believe what I said has no value. So and I'm okay with that because I know
it has value, but not okay. It has value if a new arena was really in need. That's what I'm going to talk about. Not what you're saying. Right. What you're saying, and look, fans are excited. Oh my God, Dame's back. But you know what? If they're 41-41, fans aren't going to care. And if Dame's not going to be around when the arena's built, that's not going to matter. But that's another point. My point is this: Adam Silver used his words poorly. He said they need a new arena. They don't need a new arena. They need to update this one. As I wrote about a month or so ago, they are tied for the 7th oldest arena. The Moda Center is tied for the 7th oldest. The other 7 in that group of 8, since we're tied for 7, all 7 and 6 or older have been remodeled, not replaced. And that includes your Madison Square Garden, right?
Anytime.
So
that thing is real old.
Right. So what owners have done is they've gone out, they've put in 100, 200, 300 million. And I think New York put in $1 billion. But they put, so you don't have to build a $1.5 billion arena. Just throw 300, 400 million at this one and you can upgrade. Because when you look at it, it doesn't outside, it doesn't look outdated. It doesn't even look that old. I mean, they did a great job designing the outside of it, I think, 30 years ago. You just got to update the inside, and the current Blazer ownership, the estate of Paul Allen, is already doing one of the biggest pieces that you would need to do, and that's upgrading all the scoreboard and the video screens, which is the first thing I notice when I go to other arenas is how vibrant and big and just cool the video screens are. Well, you're doing that already. Then you got to figure out some other amenities, but you can do that for the few $100 million. You don't have to build a new arena. I don't think a new arena is going to be built.
Well, I'm just saying it will help. It will help the political climate of people pushing. Because right now there's not, people in Portland don't always want to give.
But the state has approved $800 million. The state has approved $800 million for baseball.
Tax.
Right. For baseball, by the way, a franchise that doesn't exist. If someone came in and said, okay, we need to put $400 million into Moda, I think the city and the state can come up with a couple $100 million of that. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Whatever.
I'm just saying it does not hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
To bring back Damian Lillard.
I guess. It doesn't hurt.
He in 26, 27, when you would think new ownership's going to be here, that arena will be sold out when Damian Lillard is announced back in a uniform to actually play a game. People will go nuts. I mean, they sold out when he came back with the Bucks. You know what I mean? Like it'll be awesome. And even if he's not Damian Lillard, from 10 years ago, him being with the team sparks so much. And look, he had already talked about wanting to be with this team when he retired.
Right.
I mean, this sets things up for I wasn't here for Maurice Lucas when he came back and everything, but that was an ugly split. And when Maurice Lucas came back to Portland, it was a beautiful reunion, and it led to him being with the franchise, beyond his playing career. So this is a place that loves their great ones. And Damian Lillard is arguably the greatest one. I don't want to we've been through this one back and forth, and
he's arguably. There's three people that are arguably. Yeah.
But his impact now, to me, coming back, he is set up to be the most impactful Blazer as far as attached to that name, because we know the other two in the conversation went on and they didn't, Clyde Drexler works for the Rockets. He doesn't work for the Blazers. And, to me, the greatest season, the only championship, obviously Big Bill, he did eventually, mend those fences, but he didn't come back to coach. He didn't come back to play. So Lillard's got that runway it's nearly done, at this point with this. But what an exciting day. What an exciting thing. I mean, Damian Lillard's a Blazer. I don't understand it completely. I'm not going to sit here. I don't know, but I understand aspects of it. Is it perfect? No. Damian Lillard has changed his mind on what is most important to him, and good for him that it was here. The Blazers have decided that, maybe Scoot's not generational. And it's not going to be that. But no matter, it's crazy, it's weird, it's wild, but it's very interesting.
Or Scoot becomes generational and Dame backs him up.
Right. Which is the perfect scenario for the Blazers. That's what they're hoping for. And Drew Holiday, he gets traded to the Nuggets and helps lead them to a title. I don't know. Where's Shaden? We still got Denny. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. New owner. There's a new owner. Who's that?
I know.
It's nuts.
Yeah, who knows what to make of all this. We just said
it's
a bunch of
boring.
stuff. We just said a bunch of stuff, and we got to let it all play out. But look, Rip City's excited. Fans are happy. It was sad when he left, but
Definitely.
I'm not going to let. But also, I'm not going to let people forget that most people were like, "Good, he's gone. We got Scoot Henderson. We're moving forward. We got Aiden. He can go." There was a lot of that crap, and I'm not going to let people forget that. Like that. No, I remember that. I took a bunch of shit in that summer because I was on Dame's side from a bunch of fans who were anti-Dame and get rid of Dame, and Dame's got to go and move him. Don't trade him to Miami where he wants to go. Send him to Utah and get whatever you can get, blah, blah, blah. People turned on that guy. He knows it. He saw it. He and I have talked about it. So just so Rip City knows about that. Dame and I have talked about how some of you fans out there turn your back on him and we're trashing him. It was crazy because you guys thought
some,
Scoot
not
was going to
most,
be a god.
Not most.
Okay, some, yeah, not all. Well, I don't know. On what I saw on Twitter online, most.
Come on. You know about Twitter. Don't do that.
Okay,
don't do that.
Okay, I'm differentiating. What I saw was most. I'm not saying there's a lot of people who don't even have Twitter, so I'm not talking about them.
And they don't. And if they do,
those online who were talking trash, those in the media even who were talking trash, want him to be gone. Get what you can for him. There were people in the media who said, as soon as Damian Lillard leaves here, I won't care what happens to his career because he's not a Blazer anymore. There are people who work for the Blazers who said that. So I'm just saying, I'm not going to let that go because I took a lot of crap from a lot of people in and around that. And now that he's back, people going to be like, oh, yeah, he's back. Yeah. You didn't say that 2 years ago, but you're saying that now because you realize maybe Scoot wasn't all you thought he was going to be. And you realize that Aiden wasn't all that either. And that the trades are smoke and mirrors. Either way, regardless, live it up, love it. It's going to be fun maybe in a year when he comes, or he's not going to, dude, think about this. He's not going to play a basketball game for the Blazers until October of 26. That's 15 months away.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
a lot
15 months away, man. But no, hey, it's a good day. It's just that I'm looking at it from a basketball standpoint because I'm not a Blazer fan. So it's difficult for me to get all, hey, let's say this though. When Pippen went back to Chicago, I was happy. That was cool. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then he got hurt because he was 37 years old.
Didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out that way. So we'll see how it works out. But at the end of the day, the most important thing, this was Dame's decision. And I think Dame knows and sees a lot of things we talked about basketball-wise. But his kids are the most important thing to him right now. I've always been. And that's what I've been told was the driving force behind this, more so than trying to win. Because winning here, unless they can get Giannis to come, can they get Giannis to come with them? Give Milwaukee back those picks and Grant and a couple of contracts? Maybe you get Giannis to come. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but the other thing about Dame is, he knows he can control what he can control, and he believes, knowing him and knowing, he's an elite athlete. He believes he's going to come back and still be really good. You know how I know that? He asked for a player option. So, he's got a chance to make $14 million as, guaranteed, or opt out and go for more. So, and he's got a no trade. I mean, this thing works out real nice for him financially. Let's just say that. Like, winning a title, no, but he's going to make $140 million guaranteed, then add on another guarantee of $14+ million, unless he feels he's more valuable than that, and then he could go to a player option and maybe try to sign a bigger contract either for 1 year or 2 years. I mean, there's a chance he doesn't retire with the Blazers. If he's so good and he wants to end that last year, and he's got no trade. So while Drew Holiday can get traded, Damian Lillard cannot. You know what I mean?
Right.
That man knows his business. That's all I'm saying. I wish Damian Lillard can run my company any day. That guy knows what he's doing.
Well, it's smart to get the option too, because you don't know for sure what's going to happen with new ownership either.
Right. And it's a player option. So he either says, no, I'm good, and takes the money, and they can't trade him, or he goes, no, I'm out, and I'm going to either give me more, give me a 2-year deal, and it also gives them flexibility. I mean, it's just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's all, the power is all with Damian Lillard. He got the Bucks to not, they didn't make a settlement. They paid him out, all of it. And now everyone thought he was just going to get a minimum, and he didn't. He got $14 million. You know what I mean? Everyone thought that he was going to sign either a minimum contract, a MLE, something, but no, more. 3 years, 42.
That's essentially the mid-level, 14 a year, but he got over 3 years, not 1 year.
Yes, not 1 year deal.
Okay, so all right, factor Fentress.
Okay, give it to me.
You ready? The Portland Trailblazers will not make the playoffs. In the playoffs, I mean the field of 8. Postseason, I mean, anything. Play-in, teams get injured around the league, start tanking like last year. You almost squeezed in, right? So, but they will not make the field of 8 with Damian Lillard.
Ever again.
No. Well, within the 3 years. Well, they're not going to do that. So within this contract, 3-year contract. Dame can renew and come back and for less, and maybe they have a different team by then.
When he's 39.
Yeah,
I will say, I'm going to say fiction, because I think if you don't make the playoffs in year 3 with this deal, you're not going to make the playoffs next year, I don't think. So you're going to get another. So you're going to get another lottery pick.
You have 2 swings. Well, yeah, but what's that lottery pick going to do for you in the next couple of years?
I'm just saying, if you can't figure it out in 6 years, basically, to get to the playoffs, then you're real mess. Okay, I'm going to say fiction. But I'm not saying, I get what you're saying. I'm just going to give them a little bit of benefit now.
They've done nothing to make this a playoff team.
Right, but they're not. But what I'm saying is, if Sharp can become a very good starter, Klingon could become a starter. Right, I get it. But
you need
Kamari's good, Denny's good.
Tamani is a nice role player. Denny, we'll see if Denny can go to another level. We'll find out. He's had 1 good half season in 5 years, as I said.
I'm just going to say
that's 5 ifs.
I'm saying
playoff teams don't have 5 ifs. Playoff teams have 1.
You're basically giving them
5.
3.
You need
3
5.
years. 3 years to get the 8 seed.
Okay, you have to have an all-star.
Look, I'm just you don't have to have an all-star to get the 8th seed. Not to get the 8th seed.
The last 2 seasons, I haven't looked beyond that. The last 2 seasons, every playoff team had an all-star, at least one, except for this year. Technically, Orlando didn't because Banchero missed the first half of the season, but he would have been an all-star because he was the year before. So, yes, you need an all-star, especially in the West. Dude, how many teams in the NBA in the West trade their roster straight up for the Blazers right now? There's 14 other teams. How many? Maybe Utah? Would New Orleans? Would New Orleans even? I don't even know if New Orleans would.
Oh, no.
Okay, so who am I missing? If not Utah, not Spurs. No. Who else in the West was really bad last year? Okay.
Yeah,
see, there you go. No, this is the thing, man. People can get all excited about all these ifs, was, and could.
I'm still going to go no.
Jan Hansen scored 10 points in a summer league game. Dude, what's his face? Oh, my God. Who's the guy from Duke that plays for Utah?
You're getting angry.
Philip Pikowski or whatever went 35 and 11 the other night. Is he the next Larry Bird now? Because he went 35 and 11 in summer. No,
I watched Von Wafer score 42 points in a summer league game. Like you don't have to sell me on summer league.
So that's my prediction. That's my prediction that the playoffs are not coming.
I'm going half full. I'm going to say Damian Lillard at least in that the third year of this contract, which will be his second year, hopefully playing, they could get into the top 8. You might be right. That's why it's fact or fiction. It's close. You don't pick the easy ones. You don't say things like, I guarantee that Jan Hansen will not be an all-NBA player in 3 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like that would, I'm just saying, like, look at me like I'm saying something stupid. I'm not. I'm saying this is a difficult decision, and I'm going to side on the positive. I believe in Damian Lillard in year 3. I'm 8 seed. They made the playoffs for 9 straight years, even with some 8 straight years, whatever. Even with a team that tried to not make the playoffs. So
right, but that's when you had a legit all NBA player and a legit second-tier star level player just below all-star and CJ. And Damian Lillard's probably not.
Well, and there was a time when they had LaMarcus Aldridge. They had LaMarcus Aldridge too.
There you go.
And all-star.
Dame's probably not going to be all NBA.
I'm just saying, somebody
36 coming off an Achilles.
Right, but Denny's an all-star, baby. Like I got it. I got you, man. I'm just going to be positive. I'm going to say it. Look, I also do think that Damian Lillard has a presence, and there's going to be less BS. You know, look, I don't believe in you got to mentor them, but I do believe in
you got to lead
the
them.
Leader. I believe that the leader gets to has power in a locker room to tell coaches who to play and GMs who to trade. So I think that's one thing. It's not about them rising up. It's meaning because of the mentorship. Some of it's got to do with the fear. Like I think DeAndre Ayton would be better with Damian Lillard.
I agree.
You know how I know? Because there was another center that had that they got because the Nuggets were like, please take this man off our roster. He left the game early. And when I say he left the game early, he left the arena while we were still playing. And we don't want him on the team. And he had the best years possible, and that relationship was a big deal. You know, Nurkic was such a problem for the Nuggets. They knew he was talented, but they're like, this other guy that we got that's got vowels in his name and consonants all over, he's better. And we just want him out because he's poisoning our locker room. And he did not poison the locker room when Damian Lillard was there because he didn't allow it. And he had 2 choices. Either do what I say or don't play because we'll get rid of you. So that I do believe in. And I look, I've always believed in Damian Lillard has been, to me, one of the best leaders I've ever seen in sports that I covered. So I believe in that. And not every leader can do that. Like, I don't know if Kevin Durant does that. And Kevin Durant's better than Damian Lillard, but is he a better leader? I don't know. And he certainly is empowered in Portland.
True. All right.
That was so much fun. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Why do I feel like we're probably going to have the most negative podcast on this?
We were negative.
We were, though.
I wasn't.
We were basketball negative. We weren't
we were
Dame
basketball
negative. We weren't Dame coming to Portland. The person Damian Lillard and his legacy coming back to Portland. We're positive about that. We're positive about him making his decision to be close to his family. That we both have kids. We get that. From a basketball standpoint, though, it doesn't make any sense for him, and it doesn't make any sense to me for the Blazers, other than adding a leader, and maybe he can help, be a leader. And if the team comes together, maybe he can help push it a little bit further. But the roster just isn't there.
It's not, but they have a year to figure it out, and they're paying him $14 million to get Damian Lillard back. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, they know he would cost 35. I mean, right now it's $55 million that they're not paying him. So that second year, he'll be a $55 million contract that they're paying 14 for. And they got a year to figure it out. And do I know how to figure it out? Hell no. Because I don't know what they're doing. And I've said that the whole time. But they got a year to figure it out. And we got a year to see Damian Lillard be on the broadcast team, be doing interviews, bringing shine to Portland, because he's an interesting person that people cover around the NBA. How many times is he going to be on? Oh, I was going to say TNT. Oh, no, I was going to say TNT. Yeah, how many times is he going to be on ESPN, with Shaq and Ernie? He's going to be doing those shows because he can't play. And he's going to be bringing that attention to Portland. That's true. And that's good. That's good for Portland. That's good for a updated arena.
There you go. All right.
I got to get my kid dinner. Speaking of kids, I got to get dinner.
We need to talk about Jan Hansen anymore. He's having a good summer league.
It was fun.
We'll leave that for later. All right. Thanks for listening to the Blazer Focus podcast. We'll be back at a later date. Take care. Rip City, baby.
Mamá, papá, mi cuerpo crece a un ritmo alarmante y la ropa que me compren ahora me quedará muy pequeña muy pronto. Pero su billetera no tiene que sufrir por la moda con los precios bajos de la vuelta a clases de Amazon. Amazon, gasta menos, sonríe más.